While Diana herself was the center of attention and awe when she became a member of the House of Windsor, her husband and in-laws were less well received by the public. As a result, she found herself caught in a web of controversies and difficulties, culminating in her tragic and untimely death. Princess Diana's sad life was far more complicated than most people think, and this is only one part of it. Now, in a startling turn of events, many years after her death, the son of Princess Diana has leaked all the secrets about King Charles, which both confirms long-held suspicions and adds fresh light to her touching story. Join us as we unravel the mysteries surrounding one of the world's most famous royal families. A family trait: royal secrets. The news that Prince William, son of Princess Diana, leaked private information about Harry and secrets about King Charles is called into question in the most current royal biography. However, the future king's friends and allies, including the Prince of Wales, have come together to support him. This book, called Endgame, by renowned royal analyst Omid Scobie, who also penned Finding Freedom, which explores the lives of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, has been the subject of much discussion in British tabloids recently. The follow-up book reveals the tumultuous side of the royal family under King Charles' current rule. According to the book, the whole set of secrets about King Charles and other members of the royal family were leaked by none other than Prince William. It also strengthened yet again what many people believed long before the book was released: that King Charles didn't exactly meet Diana by chance, and that secrets in the royal family should never get out. And if they do, tragic things seem to happen. But before we get into that, we must understand Princess Diana's family and her early life. Diana's family. Princess Diana's background and ancestry linked her to the royal family long before she married Prince Charles. She was born to Viscount and Viscountess Althorp, who later became Earl Spencer and Mrs. Shand Kidd. But what you don't know is that Diana's birthplace was Sandringham, a private estate of the Queen. Here, she grew up playing with Princes Edward and Andrew, and even called Queen Elizabeth Aunt Lilibet. Diana's father was a royal equerry for both King George VI and Queen Elizabeth II, while her mother served as a lady-in-waiting for the Queen Mother. Their wedding in 1954, with the Queen attending, was a significant social event. Though it may seem as though Diana was destined to live out a fairy tale, her early years were actually characterized by secrets and family strife. Her parents, John and Frances Spencer, were prominent, but secretly they had a troubled marriage. Although Diana's birth in 1961 brought some joy, they lost a son not long after he was born in 1960, and the sadness brought about by the loss was still evident. 3 years later, the birth of her brother Charles brought hope, but tensions remained. Her elder sisters, Sarah and Jane, went to boarding schools, leaving Diana to handle family discord with her younger brother. Despite her efforts, Diana couldn't escape the turmoil. As she grew older, her parents' marriage deteriorated. Diana later revealed the secrets about their relationship, including physical mistreatment and infidelity, which were far more complex than the public knew. The official story was that her mother left the marriage for another man. But there was much more to it. After Frances left, the two engaged in a custody battle, with Frances's own mother siding with John, who ultimately won. 7-year-old Diana was separated from her mother, a loss that deeply affected her. Before Diana attended boarding school like her sisters, nannies raised her and her brother Charles. Unlike her sisters, who excelled academically, Diana struggled and was more interested in extracurricular activities and socializing. Despite their differences, there was one thing Diana and her sisters had in common. They found the same men to be attractive, but we'll get to that. Diana lived at Park House on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk when she was not at school. This meant that she sometimes saw Queen Elizabeth II and her family, but Diana always felt uncomfortable around them. In 1976, her father moved the family to Northamptonshire after marrying Rain. Countess of Dartmouth, further troubling Diana, as Norfolk had been her home. Her bond with her stepmother was tense, so much so that she and her siblings ended up nicknaming her Acid Rain. So you can imagine the type of relationship they had. Tensions peaked when Rain made disparaging comments about Diana's mother, prompting Diana to nearly push her down the stairs. But her family troubles were far from over. In 1978, Diana had a premonition about her father's health, which proved true when he collapsed from a brain hemorrhage. Rain then prevented the children from visiting him in the hospital, deepening the family rift. As you might have imagined, the turmoil at home affected Diana's schooling, leading her to fail her O-levels twice and drop out at 16. Seeking independence, she became a nanny, which allowed her to move to London at 18. There, Diana found freedom, living with friends and working various jobs like nannying, teaching dance and cleaning, marking her first steps towards freedom. Diana's family, on the other hand, had grand plans for her future. Her sister Sarah was the first to act. During a visit to Althorpe, Diana found Sarah entertaining an unexpected guest, Prince Charles. Sarah had a crush on him and was quite affectionate, but Diana, then 16, found him unimpressive, thinking that he was quite a sad man. It was quite a surprising first impression. Despite this, she felt flattered by his interest in her but refrained from pursuing it out of respect for her sister's feelings. By Diana's 19th birthday, Sarah had moved on. During a weekend visit, Diana ended up chatting with Charles, who suddenly expressed his loneliness and asked her to come with him to Buckingham Palace. This left Diana bewildered, but the invites didn't end. Charles later asked Diana on a sailing trip, which led to a weekend at Balmoral, but Diana, inexperienced in romance, was unsure how to handle his attention. Charles then began calling Diana's apartment, hinting at something more serious. Throughout this confusing time, she sought advice from friends, and even Charles's confidant, Camilla Parker Bowles, who seemed helpful at first. But Diana soon realized Camilla's secret influence and connection with Charles. Either way, eventually Charles proposed, but his words felt insincere to Diana. His words, "I love you so much, whatever love means," wouldn't quite hit any woman's heart. The whole secret that haunted Diana would leak much later, though, turbulent time after the proposal. Diana felt something was off, but being young and inexperienced, she couldn't quite put her finger on it. The way Charles courted her felt rushed and not very romantic. Plus, there was the whole thing about her maybe becoming queen, which was a lot to take in. Still, even though they hadn't spent much time together, she said yes when Charles asked her to marry him. But deep down, she wasn't so sure. She tried to clear her head by going to Australia for a break, but she knew once the news got out about her engagement, life would get crazy. And boy, was she right. Even though Charles said he loved her, his actions often left her questioning if his feelings were genuine. When she came back from Australia, she got flowers, but they didn't even come with a card. It made her wonder if they were really from Charles or just sent by some assistant. The media went wild when they found out about Diana and Charles. Reporters camped outside her door day and night. It was overwhelming, but Diana tried not to let it get to her. She had to think fast to dodge the paparazzi, often driving like a maniac to shake them off. When Diana turned to Buckingham Palace for help, she was met with a cold shoulder. They basically told her to deal with it herself. It was a wake-up call for the challenges she'd face as part of the royal family, naively ignoring all the pre-warnings. Diana hoped for a warm welcome from her future in-laws when their engagement was announced, but it was met with silence. Moving into Buckingham Palace, she felt lonely and missed her old life. But when she got the chance to make her public debut with Charles, she jumped at it. She even got to meet Princess Grace of Monaco, who gave her some advice about marrying royalty. Back at the palace, Diana discovered some shocking secrets. Charles was still in touch with his ex, Camilla, and they were pretty close. Hearing Charles pour his heart out to Camilla over the phone and finding a bracelet with their pet names engraved made Diana question everything. Were there more secrets she didn't know about? She thought about calling off the engagement, but somehow ended up laughing it off with her sisters. As the wedding day approached, tension between Diana and Charles grew. She felt trapped, and she turned to unhealthy habits to cope. Nevertheless, when the big day finally arrived, Diana put on a brave face and walked down the aisle. A few things went wrong during the ceremony, like Charles's first name being mixed up, but Diana, as naive and inexperienced as she was still hoping for the best. However, she was aware in her heart that Charles was keeping secrets, but she could never expect what difficult times lay ahead. First years of marriage. Even during their honeymoon, Charles was always buried in books. The newlyweds hardly had any alone time, which made Diana feel pretty lonely. And although Diana kept the whole thing a secret, things got even worse when her bulimia problems reappeared. In the early days of their marriage, Diana couldn't stop thinking about Charles's ex, Camilla, but Charles didn't seem to care much, making Diana feel even worse. Yet, things brightened up a bit when Diana found out she was pregnant in October 1981. Diana ignored her problems when she found out she was expecting, which helped her get used to being Princess of Wales. But being pregnant wasn't easy on her. She had a scary fall down the stairs just a few months into it. Luckily, both she and the baby were fine. But the leaked truth behind this story is much more gruesome. Years later, Diana admitted she purposely threw herself down the stairs after a fight with Charles. Instead of being there for her, Charles just left to go riding. And when she cried for help, he didn't really seem to care. As Diana's pregnancy went on, she hit a breaking point and asked to have the baby induced. Even though their son, Prince William, was born healthy in June 1982, Diana's happiness didn't last long. She struggled with postpartum depression and felt extremely distant from her in-laws. The years after William's birth flew by, and in 1984, after the whole drama they had been through, Diana and Charles were expecting again. This time, things felt a bit different. Diana didn't feel as sick, and she and Charles seemed to be getting along better. But Diana kept a big secret from Charles. She knew he wanted a daughter, but scans showed they were having a boy. Despite hoping for a happy time, things got rough after their son, Prince Harry, was born. Charles distanced himself again, even disappointing the Queen. The thing is, Diana and Queen Elizabeth didn't exactly have a close relationship, but they still respected each other during Diana's marriage to Charles. The Queen didn't know their secrets behind closed doors, so she blamed Diana's bulimia for their marriage problems. Their arguments got really bad, with Diana even hurting herself to show how upset she was. Once again, Charles just ignored her or brushed it off. Diana tried resorting to medication, thinking a dose of understanding and some rest would help her. However, Diana's requests were ignored as her royal duties piled up, leaving her feeling betrayed and alone. Breaking point. Diana hit rock bottom when, after 5 years of marriage, she realized Charles was back with Camilla. Seeing Charles and Camilla getting cozy again, Diana decided to play the same game. She turned her attention to James Hewitt, a guy from the household cavalry who also happened to be her riding instructor. What started as a little crush turned into a full-blown affair, adding a whole new set of problems for Diana to deal with. But Charles wasn't the only one causing Diana trouble. His whole family added to her stress, especially with the relentless media attention. Her relationship with Sarah Ferguson in particular was icy until a tragic accident brought them together in a surprising way. Worried sick in 1988 when Charles and Andrew, along with their wives, were skiing in Switzerland, Diana and Sarah overheard about an avalanche. They feared for their husband's safety, but thankfully, they were okay. However, their friend Hugh Lindsay wasn't so lucky. Both Sarah and Diana stepped in to help Sarah Brennan, his wife, through the tragedy, taking care of funeral arrangements and being there for her every step of the way. But things got even worse when authorities started investigating Charles for the accident. It turned out that his group triggered the avalanche that cost Hugh his life. But get this, in the middle of all the stress and grief, Charles decided to take out his frustration on Diana. This was just one of many occasions when Diana had to put up with Charles's heartless behavior. At first, Diana went back to her old habits, struggling with binging and purging. But with a friend's support, she decided to get treatment for her bulimia, finally standing up for herself. She even faced Camilla at a family event, calmly asking for honesty and respect. While it didn't stop Charles and Camilla, it was a big step forward for Diana. She also started opening up more, and as she fought her way through it, she found herself reconnecting with people. She embraced her role as the people's princess, spending time with ordinary folks and listening to their stories, which helped her feel more connected to the world around her. Princess Diana didn't shy away from controversy either, especially when it came to breaking down barriers around HIV and AIDS. She made a bold move by not only shaking hands with an AIDS patient, but also giving him a hug, sending a powerful message that people with HIV aren't dangerous. Her heartfelt speech, urging compassion and understanding, marked a big moment, challenging how society viewed the disease. But 1992 was rough for Diana. She faced a series of personal blows, starting with the loss of her father, John Spencer. After he passed away, her brother Charles stirred up drama by kicking his stepmother Rain out of their family home. Diana didn't just stand by. Oh no, she wanted her revenge by overseeing Rain's eviction and even laying claim to Spencer family belongings, making a bold statement in the process. Before 1992, Diana's struggles were mostly kept secret, but that year Diana, with the support of her son, decided to spill the beans. Excerpts from the book, Diana. Her true story hit the papers, revealing her struggles with Charles and making headlines worldwide. It was a brave move that showed the world the real Diana behind all the royal pomp and circumstance. It also led to something she never imagined could happen: Diana and Charles's divorce. The divorce. When Princess Diana attempted to seize control of her narrative by releasing excerpts from her book, she never anticipated someone else stealing the spotlight. Yet, secret tapes soon leaked, unleashing a media frenzy. One tape captured Diana chatting with her friend James Gilbey and brought about discussions of an affair. It didn't take long before another tape exposed Charles's shameful desire to be with Camilla. Some even said that it was Princess Diana's son, Prince William, who leaked these secrets about King Charles. But the scandal didn't stop there. Amidst the chaos, Prince Philip extended an olive branch to Diana, hoping for reconciliation, while Diana herself wrote controversial letters to the Queen. These letters were so scandalous that Princess Margaret decided to burn them. Diana grew increasingly frustrated with the relentless pursuit of stories linking her to various figures, so in a daring move, she sat down for an interview with Martin Bashir, where she famously revealed the long-held royal secret that there were more than 2 people in her marriage. This interview marked a turning point after years of tumult. Queen Elizabeth intervened, urging Diana and Charles to part ways, but even though they agreed, drama followed over Diana's royal title. Reports suggested Prince Philip wanted to strip her of it, but Diana wasn't about to let that happen, reminding him that her title was older than his. While the Queen supported Diana retaining her title, Charles pushed for its removal. Despite the title dispute, Diana's love for her sons remained steadfast, and Prince William vowed to reinstate her title once he ascended the throne. As the divorce proceedings went on, another malicious story surfaced, accusing Diana of spreading stories about Charles's affair with Tiggy Legge Bourke and insinuating she had a secret pregnancy. Either way, after some time, the legalities were finally settled, and many saw Diana going back to her family's estate, Althorp. But Diana, forever the unusual one, decided to stay in apartments at Kensington Palace instead. After her split from Charles, she found herself in another relationship that involved keeping secrets. She was drawn to Hasnat Khan, a British Pakistani heart surgeon. Their love ran deep, but Khan's private nature posed a challenge. Diana had to concoct stories to keep their affair a secret, but the pressure eventually became too much. They toyed with the idea of marriage, but Khan worried about the media circus that would follow, potentially invading their privacy. Yet there may have been another hurdle: Diana's mother, who disapproved of her relationship with a Muslim. This strained their relationship, leaving things unresolved. After nearly 2 years of dating, they broke up in 1997, but no one knows for sure what caused the split. Friends later revealed that many saw Khan as the love of Diana's life, yet she seemed to move on swiftly. During a summer trip in 1997, Diana met Dodi Al-Fayed, son of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed. Their romance blossomed during cruises, but the paparazzi caught wind, and attempts to dodge them simply brought more tragedy. The passing. The night of August 31st, 1997, changed everything. Diana Dodi, their driver, Henry Paul, and bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones set off from the Paris Ritz in their car with Paul at the wheel, but they never reached their destination. Approaching the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, they were swarmed by motorcycles carrying paparazzi. Unfortunately, the car never escaped. It collided with the tunnel walls and pillars, leaving a grim scene. Some photographers rushed to help, while others shamelessly continued snapping photos. Medical teams arrived, tending to the injured passengers, but despite efforts to save her, Diana didn't make it. She was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital, with her injuries being more severe than initially thought. The aftermath was heartbreaking. Prince Charles and Diana's sisters rushed to France to bring her home, while mourners left millions of bouquets outside Kensington Palace. The public mourning continued at her funeral, where Diana's sons, William and Harry, faced a difficult decision. Should they attend the funeral and face controversy? The royal family also struggled to come to terms with Diana's death. Prince Charles had to wake his sons before dawn to deliver the devastating news. While they grieved, the family faced criticism for their response to the tragedy, but Prince Philip's influence helped guide William and Harry through their grief, urging them to take part in their mother's funeral procession. It was a moment watched by millions, yet many questions remained. Investigations. The aftermath of Diana's tragic death was fraught with investigations and conspiracy theories. While some attributed the crash to the driver's intoxication, others, like Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, suspected foul play and pushed for further investigation. Despite eventually halting his efforts, Mohammed's suspicions lingered, contributing to a cloud of uncertainty surrounding Diana's demise. Diana herself was no stranger to suspicion. She often felt targeted by the royal family, or as she would call them, the firm, suspecting them of orchestrating various plots against her. One particularly troubling incident involved the leaked Squidgygate tape, which her staff believed was deliberately released to embarrass her. But her strong conviction went even deeper, as she believed that Charles not only had affairs but also harbored darker intentions, including a desire to eliminate her to clear the path for his alleged lover, Tiggy. Her former bodyguard, Barry Manicky, had been the source of her fears in the past. Diana's affection for Barry was clear, leading to a tabloid story about their relationship. Barry's untimely death in a car accident only deepened Diana's intuition, despite official investigations ruling it an accident. Additionally, her affair with James Hewitt, which ended in 1991, resurfaced when he attempted to sell letters from Diana, sparking controversy and reigniting stories about his connection to Prince Harry. Prince Harry's life since his mother's tragic death has been fraught with challenges. In January 2020, he and Meghan Markle rocked the royal family by announcing their decision to step back from their roles as senior royals. This move sparked a global frenzy of discussions about their motives. Many believed Harry's desire to protect his own child from the pressures of royal life, influenced by his traumatic experiences, played a significant role. After months of tabloid stories, Harry and Meghan finally spoke out in a revealing interview. Meghan bravely shared her struggles within the royal family and the relentless media scrutiny, including her battles with mental health. She shockingly disclosed how, when she sought help, the royal institution turned a blind eye. This only added fuel to the fire, as Diana herself was trying to share her own secrets long before. Harry, too, didn't hold back, criticizing his father, King Charles, for his perceived lack of support and warmth after Diana's death. The pain of Diana's loss still haunts Harry, especially as new leaks about his relationship with his father continue to surface. And according to some claims, these leaks came from none other than Princess Diana's other son, Prince William, who leaked the whole set of secrets about King Charles and his relationship with Harry. In 2022, Harry revealed that King Charles himself, or some other member of the royal family, possibly his brother William, was disclosing private information about him and Meghan. Then, in 2023, this was further validated when the book Endgame leaked, which mentioned King Charles's older son, who may have been plotting against his younger brother. William allegedly leaked information that could weaken Harry and his wife's authority because he prioritized his allegiance to the monarchy over his brother, according to a detailed report in the Daily Mail based on Scobie's book and interviews. The book also led to the king calling Harry a fool, yet again confirming their strained relationship. And just recently, in 2024, another leak revealed that King Charles was too busy to meet his son, politely dismissing him in public. All these family developments and leaked secrets about King Charles make us think even more about Diana and her sons, and how the truth isn't always what it seems.